May 3rd, 2007, a date that would forever be etched in the minds of many. The Ocean Club resort in Praia da Luz, Portugal, bustled with vacationers enjoying the spring evening. The air was filled with laughter and the scent of the ocean as families relished their time away from the daily grind. Among them were Kate and Jerry McCann, their 3-year-old daughter Madeleine, and their 2 younger twins. The McCanns were a picture of happiness, capturing precious moments with their children. The McCanns, doctors from England, were on holiday enjoying family dinners and the resort's amenities. They had planned this trip as a much-needed break from their demanding careers. That evening, the adults dined at a tapas restaurant within the resort complex, leaving their children asleep in their apartment. The restaurant was just a short walk away, allowing them to check on the kids regularly. They checked on them periodically, ensuring their little ones were safe and sound. It was a routine they had followed throughout their stay. At 10 p.m., Kate McCann made a horrifying discovery. Madeleine was gone. The bed where her daughter should have been sleeping was empty, and panic set in immediately. The apartment, left unlocked, offered no sign of forced entry. Everything seemed undisturbed, adding to the mystery of Madeleine's disappearance. The window was open, suggesting a possible abduction. The thought of someone taking their child was unbearable. Panic set in as resort staff and guests joined the search for Madeleine. Flashlights pierced the darkness as everyone hoped for a quick resolution. Portuguese authorities were called, marking the beginning of an investigation that would span continents and captivate the world. The search for Madeleine became a global effort. The disappearance of a child is every parent's worst nightmare. For the McCanns, it was a devastating reality that shattered their world. For Kate and Jerry McCann, that nightmare became a reality on that warm Portuguese night. Their lives were forever changed in an instant. Their search for Madeleine would become a relentless mission, fueled by an unwavering belief that their daughter was still alive. They clung to hope, refusing to give up. The vanishing of Madeleine McCann sent shockwaves across the globe. News outlets everywhere covered the story, and the world watched in horror. The image of her innocent face, beamed across news channels and plastered on missing posters, became seared into the public consciousness. The search for Madeleine McCann had only just begun. The Portuguese police, faced with a high-profile case and intense media scrutiny, immediately launched an extensive investigation. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann quickly became a top priority, with resources being allocated from various departments. The crime scene, however, presented more questions than answers. Despite the thorough search, crucial evidence seemed to be missing, leaving investigators puzzled and the public anxious. The lack of forced entry fueled theories ranging from a planned abduction to a random break-in gone wrong. This detail led to speculation about whether the perpetrator had a key or if Madeleine had been lured out. Some investigators focused on the possibility of Madeleine being taken by a stranger, perhaps someone who had been watching the family for days, meticulously planning the abduction. Others considered the possibility of a burglary gone wrong, with Madeleine being taken as an afterthought. This theory suggested that the intruder might have panicked upon discovering the child. The layout of the resort, with its multiple entrances and exits, made it difficult to pinpoint potential suspects. The sprawling nature of the area provided numerous escape routes, complicating the investigation further. As days turned into weeks, the investigation seemed to hit a wall. Leads that initially seemed promising turned into dead ends, and the frustration among the investigators grew palpable. The Portuguese police, criticized for their handling of the case, faced mounting pressure to find answers. The media and public scrutiny intensified, with every move being closely watched and analyzed. Theories continued to circulate, with some suggesting that Madeleine had been the victim of a pedophile ring operating in the area. This horrifying possibility added a new layer of urgency to the investigation. The McCanns, thrust into the center of a media storm, refused to give up hope. They remained steadfast in their belief that Madeleine was still alive and could be found. They launched a global campaign, appealing for information and raising millions of pounds to fund their own private investigation. Their efforts included hiring private detectives and using advanced technology to track down leads. Their unwavering determination and love for their daughter resonated with people around the world, who followed the case with a mix of sympathy and morbid fascination. The global community's support provided the McCanns with a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. As the investigation progressed and with no significant leads emerging, the focus shifted to the McCanns themselves. The Portuguese police, citing inconsistencies in their accounts and suspicious behavior, named Kate and Jerry McCann as arguidos, or formal suspects, in their daughter's disappearance. The media, hungry for new angles and driven by a culture of suspicion, seized on this development. The McCanns were subjected to intense scrutiny, their every move analysed and dissected. They were accused of negligence, of being involved in their daughter's disappearance, even of profiting from the tragedy. The McCanns, already grappling with the unimaginable pain of losing their daughter, now faced public condemnation and suspicion. They steadfastly maintained their innocence, their love for Madeleine, and their determination to clear their names. The decision to name the McCanns as suspects proved controversial, with many criticizing the Portuguese police for what they saw as a desperate attempt to salvage a failing investigation. The case, already shrouded in mystery and speculation, took on an even darker tone, dividing public opinion, casting a long shadow over the search for Madeleine. In 2011, with the Portuguese investigation formally shelved, the case of Madeleine McCann seemed to be at a standstill. The Metropolitan Police Service in London, however, decided to take a fresh look at the case. They launched their own review, dubbed Operation Grange, with the hope of uncovering new evidence and leads. British detectives, working closely alongside their Portuguese counterparts, began a painstaking re-examination of the evidence. They meticulously reviewed every detail, hoping to uncover new leads that had been previously overlooked. Operation Grange brought a renewed sense of hope to the case, reigniting the possibility of finding answers. The British detectives, utilizing advanced forensic techniques and a fresh perspective, meticulously reviewed thousands of pages of documents. They analyzed every piece of evidence with the latest technology, hoping to find something that had been missed. They interviewed witnesses, some of whom had never been questioned before, and explored new lines of inquiry that had not been considered in the initial investigation. The scope of Operation Grange extended far beyond the initial investigation. Detectives delved into every possible angle, leaving no stone unturned. They explored the possibility of Madeleine being abducted by an organized crime group or sold into trafficking rings, a theory that had gained traction over the years. They also began to focus on a number of potential suspects, including individuals with histories of child sex offences who had been in the Praia da Luz area at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. These suspects were scrutinised closely, with detectives looking for any connections to the case that might have been missed in the initial investigation. The launch of Operation Grange marked a significant turning point in the case. It signalled a renewed commitment to finding Madeleine and brought a glimmer of hope to a case that had long seemed cold. The renewed investigation brought comfort to Madeleine's family and supporters, who had never given up hope. It was a reminder that the search for truth was still very much alive. The investigation, though complex and challenging, offered the best chance yet of uncovering the truth about what happened to Madeleine McCann. The dedication and determination of the detectives involved gave everyone a renewed sense of optimism. In the investigation, a prime suspect finally emerges. Authorities focus their attention on this individual, believing they may hold the key to solving the case. As evidence is gathered, the suspect's background and movements are scrutinized meticulously. Every detail is critical in piecing together what happened that fateful night. The world watches closely, awaiting any developments that could bring answers to Madeleine's disappearance. As the years went by, there were moments of false hope that lifted spirits, only to be dashed by renewed heartache. Each promising lead seemed to end in disappointment, leaving the McCann family and the world in a constant state of emotional turmoil. Despite the setbacks, the search for answers never ceased. Investigators continued to follow new leads, and the public remained vigilant. The hope of finding Madeleine, or at least uncovering the truth of her disappearance, kept everyone pushing forward. The case of Madeleine McCann attracted intense media attention from around the globe. The scrutiny was relentless, with every development, no matter how small, making headlines. The McCann family found themselves under the microscope, their every move analyzed and criticized by the public and press alike. Through all the pain and loss, the story of Madeleine McCann has left a lasting impact. It has raised awareness about missing children and the importance of never giving up hope. While the journey has been fraught with challenges, the glimmer of hope remains, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit.